Hello everybody, it's Donna from Purple Pinky Promises. Thanks for joining me today. I have this little project for you. This card is so darling. It is a hanging basket, and I'm going to take you through the steps that I went through to make it. So the first thing I did was I took the Salvaged brick stencil, and then I took some Lunar paste. This is some Simon Hurley Lunar paste in Bee Sting. And as you can see here, I laid it over this stencil and it looks like a crime scene. But it's actually really beautiful and yummy stencil paste. I absolutely loved it. I thought, wow, there's some really cool things that you could stencil with that. It would be gorgeous for Christmas ornaments. If you had a stencil for some ornaments on a tree, or strawberries, apples, the list goes on. So that is such beautiful Lunar paste. Nice and easy to work with as well. And it cleans up great. So the next thing that I'm picking up here is a die cut that is from the Just Because dies. And I'm taking that honey pot. And it is actually going to be our basket. And so I'm showing you right now some of the things that I've gone through product-wise that I used to create this. That star from Dare to Be Artsy, that string of stars, what an interesting thing that it turned out to be. I trimmed it down to make it look like a chain. So you'll see that here in a minute. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going through all the things, all the dies from Spellbinders. This is a Spellbinders extravaganza, folks. That I used to come up with all of those die cuts. And I ended up not using all the die cuts, but I do have all the products listed in the description for this video. Okay, so now, as you can see, I'm trimming off those stars and circles and turning it into something that looks like a chain. And then I trim it down, cut it in half. And so I did die cut it twice. I used I cut in half both of them and ended up with 4, but I only used 3. So here I am getting ready to glue this down, just kind of sizing it up. And I think I've determined that I need to trim that a little bit better. So I trim it, and I actually ended up putting that on there so that I had those 2 ends that look alike in the center. You can see that one has like a little circle and the other 2 have rectangles in them. So I put that circle in the middle and those 2 rectangle bits on each end. So now here I am adding some glue, and the nice part about this is this die is so thin you can actually move it around a little bit. So I glued those ends to stick together, and I actually created a rounded look with this chain to give it actually a little bit of more of a 3D look to it. And then I took this straight die piece, and by the way, this is Spellbinders brushed silver cardstock. Woo, yummy, yummy stuff. And so this straight piece is out of one of the tag sets from Spellbinders, and it's kind of cool. It is the I'm not finding those tags in my list here, but those are tags, and they'll be listed in the description below. And yeah, actually those are called Assorted Tags. Haha, imagine that. So I cut that down twice to create what I would call, I guess you would call it the chain that wraps around the lip of your basket to attach to the chain that hangs. I don't know what you call it. Guys, I don't have specific names for anything, and I'm not an expert on any kind of floral or gardening of any kind, but basically I saw a hanging basket the other day, and I thought, oh, I can make one of those. I can come up with some dies. So this video is actually to inspire you to take a look at your dies in different ways. Stretch the use out of them. So what is actually meant for a honey pot is now going to be a hanging basket, the basket on the hanging basket. And what was meant for a string of stars is now going to be the chain on our hanging basket. And right here, folks, I did a boo-boo. I jumped the gun and started putting my leaves on there. And I went, wait a minute. I got to create this basket. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking some of this brand new ribbon that we have in the store. And this ribbon is so fun. Look at it, stretches. And you can actually, it's the woven burlap braided ribbon in the color natural. So luckily I didn't get too far with all my leaves, and I was able to tuck that underneath there, stretch it all out. And this Barely Art glue works just fine with it. You got to get a lot of it on there, but it works. And it was really nice because it was nice to be able to stretch it out. That glue, when it's wet, helps you to be able to move that still to get the look that you want. So I just layered this one after the other, cutting strips, pulling it over, getting it stretched out. And once that was down, I took this and, there goes my leaves. Flopped it back over. It worked just fine. So then I trim it off. I turn it over and I trim those edges off and trim it down so that we have the shape of a basket. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So this ribbon has lots of uses, not just for ribbon, but for creating a fabric look on different things that you want to scrapbook or make cards. Okay, you'll see her later. I use it again for something completely different. Right now, I'm kind of fussing with this Pinkfresh dye that ended up being my favorite dye to use for this project. And this is called the Leafy Branch dye. And I just keep tucking in all that greenery here and there, front and back, until I get the look that I desire. Back and forth, off the sides, front and back and forth, just tucking in until I get the look I want. Okay, so now that this has dried, I decided it was a little too shiny for my liking. It needed to be toned down. And like I mentioned earlier, perfect for Christmas ornaments or an apple or strawberries or anything like that. It has the perfect color for a lot of different things. And so I just grabbed some embossing paste that I had on hand. I used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I had some still in my stash that was already opened, and I just grabbed my finger and just rubbed it across there to kind of tone down that look. It also kind of gives it that look of a whitewash over that brick, which ended up being really cool. So I'm just kind of wiping it down, getting all the grit off, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm showing you what it looks like close up. It's pretty cool. I love it. All right. I kind of tossed it back and forth, just leaving it as, a hanging basket with greenery. But then I just decided, no, I do want some flowers in there. I just think those flowers would be really, really cute. So I went ahead and put those flowers in there, and I didn't use them all. I just used the small ones. I wanted it to have the look of it's starting to bloom. It hasn't bloomed all the way, but it's just beginning to bloom. And so that's why I use the small ones. And then I decide, you know what? I need to spoof this up just a little bit. I need to take these leaves to the next level, and let's get some alcohol markers on the flowers, on the leaves. And that's what I'm demonstrating for you here. Is I am taking these Altenew Artist alcohol markers, and I am spiffing up those flowers and leaves. Just adding an element of interest. It actually makes them stand out a whole lot better. They're not so flat. So I do take you through this process of where I use the dark marker and then I come back with a lighter marker and I kind of blend it in. And like I said, all of these markers will be listed in the description. If you are watching this on Facebook, description is up above. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the description is down below. And while I'm doing this and you're watching this, this is a great time for me to take the opportunity to say thank you for everybody who has stopped by and watched videos, maybe for the first time, maybe for the 100th time. I really appreciate you. And if you haven't yet, you just happened to get this recommended for you, do us a favor. We're a very young company over here at Purple Pinky Promises. We're in a small town, and our goal is to bring crafting joy to those who love to scrapbook or make cards or any kind of paper crafts. And we are getting ready to open our store. And we're fairly young, like I said. So give us a like and subscribe. Help us make it a little easier for us in the algorithm on Facebook and YouTube, please. That's what you can do. If you don't order from us, we are online. We're at purplepinkypromises.com. We do have both products in person and we have products online as well. So yeah, if you don't want to shop, hit subscribe and like. Watch our videos. That's a way you can help us. Okay, so I'm still showing you the ropes here. What I'm doing, well, we're going to get up and close and personal, folks. And I'm just going along those edges and giving you kind of a closer glimpse of what I've done. And I've added that darker ink to the darker cardstock. Some of that cardstock is Spellbinders. The Fern is Spellbinders, and that leaf is American Crafts. All right, now we're grabbing some honeybee sticker gem stickers, the love letters, and I am doing tone on tone, yellow for yellow, and red for red. So there we go. Just giving it a little bit of bling and shimmer and shine. All right. And folks, if I were to do this over again, I would not have used this tape, this foam tape. I would have used something thicker. This one is a thinner. The scrapbook adhesives foam tape roll is a thinner double-sided foam adhesive. I probably would have preferred to use some either some Kraft foam or use a different foam adhesive that is thicker. Okay, taking some bitty buzzwords to use for my sentiment, using gathered twigs, distress oxide, and I show you right here that at the end of that walnut cream cardstock, which is what I ended up putting that brick wall, was I used stencil paste on that Bazzill walnut cream cardstock. So at the end of that, you have that little edge that has it has the UPC code and all that stuff on it, and it gives you an extra bit that you can use for sentiments like just like this. So it's perfect. So I decided, no waste, let's use it. And here's the second use for this ribbon. I am going to pull out two pieces and create some twine. Use it for twine. I do a double bow and I stick it at the top. And Lindy, this little tiny bow is just for you. I know what a thrill you get out of watching me make those teensy weensy little bows. And not only is it one teensy weensy little bow, it's a double. So there you go. That was for you, dear. For those of you who don't know, Lindy and I have been friends forever. We were college roommates, and she's the one that gave me the joy of crafting. She influenced me in this. And so, yep, there's that tiny bow for Lindy. Now, if I were to do this over again, I would have not cut off so much at the end on that just for you sentiment. So I put a glue dot in the front. We get a glue dot on the back. And that's how we're adhering it, because we are using embossing paste. We want it to stick. And I use a glue dot for my little twine there as well. Yeah, it covers up my just for you a little too much. So if I hadn't cut off so much, it would have been a little easier to see. But it still works. Okay. We are nearing the end of this card, guys. I'm just going to adhere that to that walnut cream, Bazzill walnut cream cardstock front. That's my card base, the front of it. I adhere that. And I did use quite a bit of glue because, you know, when that embossing paste hits your paper, it does kind of warp it a little bit because it does make it wet. So I use quite a bit of glue here to get that to lay down flat and straight, making sure it go all the way around the edges. Really good to get that flat. And it stayed. And there it is, guys. Thanks again for joining me. Here's your close-up. You're going to get a couple more close-ups, and you're going to get another look at this card. I hope this inspired you. I hope that you will take a look at your dies and get more mileage out of them and come up with some creative ways to use them. Thanks, guys, and have a great day. Bye-bye.